Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's how-to is how to deal with an outside leaking faucet or a hydrant or a spigot, whatever it is that you call it in your area. This one in particular is the Woodford Model 14. It's probably the most common one I run into in my area, other than maybe the newer model that has the vacuum breaker on top. This one doesn't have that. Well, in this case, there's really only typically two reasons why this one leaks. One would be if your handle is all the way shut off and you're still continuing to get water, whether it's drips or even sometimes a steady stream. That's because your valve seat rubber needs to be replaced. That's not the case on this one in particular. What happens with this one is whenever I turn the handle on, water begins to spray out of that handle, as you can see here. Well, that's due to the packing material needing to be replaced. So that's what I'm going to be taking care of today. But I'm going to go ahead and disassemble the whole entire faucet because I bought the rebuild kit on Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and replace everything. If I'm going to go to the trouble to take this apart, I'm going to go ahead and replace the valve seat rubber as well, just as if I had both issues going on. So maybe you've got one of these two issues. I'm going to show you how to replace all those things today. So for the packing nut repair on certain models, you don't need to turn the water off, but I will need to shut off the water for that rubber valve seat repair. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the water off, and I'd recommend you do so no matter what it is you're doing to your faucet, especially if you're someone not familiar with doing this kind of work, because you never know. As I get to twisting on this, I might break a pipe loose or something on the inside of the house, but at a minimum, you need to familiarize yourself with where the water shutoffs are so that if an emergency arises, you'll be able to get that water turned off. So let's go ahead and turn the water off before we get into this. Now that I've verified that the water is off by opening up the handle, making sure I have no more water coming out, it's time to start disassembling the faucet. You're going to start with a slotted screwdriver, taking out the handle just by removing the screw inside the handle and then pulling the handle off. You can see the screw there with that slot. The next step in the process is to remove this packing nut. Now, if you only have a small leak, sometimes you can snug this up. That will fix the issue, but what's the fun in that? I decided I wanted to take apart this entire faucet today to show you all the inside, and plus it will allow you to see how to fix your dripping faucet if that's your issue as well. So let's go ahead and remove this packing nut. I like to take an adjustable wrench like this one. It has some flat spots, even though this doesn't really have like a nut per se to hold on to. Put that onto that faucet like this. This is just going to help you from twisting the pipe inside your wall. And then you'll either take another adjustable wrench, or here's the Knipex pliers wrench that I'm using, and also grab a hold of the packing nut. And then we're going to loosen this packing nut while holding back on my other wrench. Now we've got the packing nut removed. Now I've got to remove all the old packing material. Once you've got all the old packing material out of the way, I put the handle back on, and then I just slowly put it in reverse and pull out the handle at the same time. And you can see the stem starts to release itself. The valve seat rubber, so if you have a faucet that is dripping or will not shut off, the valve seat rubber is down inside of here. There's a screw, so we're going to remove that screw. Then remove the rubber washer. Sometimes you got to get a small screwdriver or something and stick it in there, so we're going to get rid of that. We're going to replace it with the new valve seat rubber. You can see it's coned on one side, flat on the other. The flat side will go against your faucet itself. The cone side will go in. I like to go ahead and take the screw. It's a new screw, stick it in there, and then that way it kind of helps keep the screw in the right spot, and then also gives it a little more weight to stay in there. Put it in like so, tighten that down. Once you have the valve stem on, the next step is to put on the packing support washer. So you're going to put that on. I like to go ahead and slide my faucet back in and then go ahead and tighten that up as if you were closing the valve itself. That gives you the room once you put your packing material in. This one's a rubber washer instead of the rope type material that was originally in it, and it says you can install this either way in the instructions. So we're going to put that in, and by tightening that valve all the way, that gives your nut enough room to go in and begin to catch threads. So then we're going to take the packing nut, there's a new one in the kit as well, begin to get that started. It should go freely, make sure you don't cross thread it. And now, just like in the beginning, I'm going to put my adjustable wrench onto the faucet itself. Then I'm going to take my Knipex pliers wrench, grab a hold of the packing nut, and I'm going to tighten it. And I'm going to just tighten it by hand until I feel it begin to get tight, and then I will grab a hold of my hold off. You can see my faucet's beginning to move, and this is not normally the orientation I would hold these, but I'm doing it so that I'm not in the way of the camera. But again, I'm just going to tighten this and get it snug. And again, you can tighten this more once you get the water turned on if you still have a leak, and it should close it off. Next step is to replace the handle. This kit also comes with a new handle and a new handle screw. So just like I did with the valve rubber, I'm going to put the screw in the handle, get my screwdriver on that, go ahead and get that screw started, and make sure that I get that lined up with the grooves, tighten that handle back up, and then as I get it tight, now I'm going to make sure that I got a good movement here. I'm going to turn off the faucet all the way. We're going to go turn the water back on, and then the last step is to test it. So I now have the water back on with no drips, but the real test for me is to see if I have leaking through my handle when I turn it on. I'm going to hook up this hose so that I don't get soaked with water since it's on concrete here. You can see before, as I turned on my handle, I had a lot of leakage coming from here. Now I can turn this on, even though it's pretty squeaky. No longer have any leaks coming from this area. You can see I do have the water on. So the new packing material has fixed my issue, but again, maybe your issue was the dripping coming from here. That would be that rubber valve seat would fix that issue, or maybe you've got the newer model with the vacuum breaker on top, leaking out of the top. All you've got to do is pop that top off, replace that inside. That would fix that issue as well. So yeah guys, not a hard fix, doesn't take a lot of tools. Again, they have a complete rebuild kit for this particular model that I purchased off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for that. You may have a different model, they probably have a kit for that as well. But I hope this was useful. I hope it saved you some money. You guys stay safe and have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next video.